Yeah, Arbor Day Kids Coloring Contest, presentation, public hearing, the mayor's presentation of the veteran. All right, on the minutes. Any questions on it? On the bills.
I had questions.
All right, Adam.
Go ahead, I'm gonna, I didn't write them down.
On the special, so we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
On the special events application, the Kiwanis Club for the chicken barbecue. Any questions on it?
That number 3.
Three.
I'm not ready yet.
All right, next is the special events on the Ted Reinhardt Drum Days.
Okay. I think that's the last one. That's the last one.
Okay, do we have any questions on it? Okay. All right, Adam, we're coming to you. We got questions on the bills.
Go ahead. I'm just wondering about this $800 expenditures for the cheer team coach.
Okay,
What's that for?
I believe she runs the cheer program. That's run over at the senior rec center, or the senior center, I believe.
It's done to the city though?
Yes. They have like a cheerleading program, they buy uniforms and stuff for it.
That one just kind of stuck out, but. Having a flag. I guess that's a. That's fine.
Does anybody want to sponsor it? Anybody else have any other questions on it? Okay. All right, let's go around the room. What's your usually?
A couple of things from the traffic safety committee. The police department, if I'm not mistaken, the chief talked about it more. They're doing enforcement, correct, chief, in regards to the e-bikes? Yeah. You know, to try to come to, you know, I mean, a lot of people are ignorant out there what they're doing. Trying to, you know, get that in play, and it's gonna be tough at the Riverwalk, isn't it? Pretty, I mean, you know, because of the confined space and all that measurements.
Well, they're not allowed to be on the bike path.
Right, it's bottom line, any
Scooters,
path.
Bikes, they can't be in the back, they can't be in parks, public land.
Right, yeah, this is
Yeah,
a wide range that a lot of people don't know, they can't be in those places.
but this is where you're going with it,
Right.
we need to post.
Right.
We need to
Yeah,
post
yeah,
it properly,
yeah.
so. Yeah.
Cause our signs say no, I'm not even
Motor
sure,
vehicles.
no vehicles, but it doesn't say anything about e-bikes. They add that, but the problem is the signage down there. You know, you got a sign with about, you can get anything, a separate sign, chief, would that be best? No e-bikes, you know, I mean,
To be
another,
specific, yeah, it'd be.
because it's just a difficult thing to handle in today's world.
I'm just curious, can we, are we able to enforce that on a local level? Because isn't it at the county level,
It's
It is
actually
county, yeah.
state law.
state law?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I read it last time, a couple of years ago, it was specific to combustion engine vehicles being on there.
Yeah,
And is there a distinction between that and the,
the e-bikes and the
E-bikes.
e-scooters, yeah, they're not considered. They're not considered motor vehicles, but they're also, it's also specified in the law that they can't be driven on bike paths. Rails to trails, public parkways.
Gotcha.
Public parks. Yeah, and one of my officers, dig into it and he did a pretty good job.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And I guess how are we have the resources to enforce that? I mean, it gets pretty busy out there, especially when.
Yeah, we try, when we can, we try to get, officers in.
Thank you.
Thinking back on that,
Yeah,
One, mayor, one.
the educational event that which you're gonna be speaking at, You'll be there yourself, and also Stephen Worthing will be presenting a 40-minute PowerPoint presentation just on what you guys are gonna be going after, what you're looking at for safety, and educating the parents, which is the most important.
For what it's worth also, you mentioned, the enforcement. We actually did, we did a week of, it's just specified just education, stopping and warning and advising. And then we're gonna go after enforcement.
Nice work.
Thanks, next. The parking signs limit it's like 2 hour parking in the city, all those have to be taken down because we have no way to enforce. So I don't know how many are in the city, the kid, Mara, is it Chris Mara? From, electrical, it's part of the traffic safety now, so we gotta get these signs down, they're not enforceable anymore, so you gotta get.
He said we'll be taking it down slowly, but not all at once, not all.
We have to amend the ordinance
Post that, yeah.
to eliminate.
So all of it, because
Yes.
we have different ones for downtown, we have different ones for.
Well, whichever ones we're taking down, we have to amend the ordinance, remove it from the ordinance. Just taking down the sign doesn't get rid of the issue.
Correct.
Oh, we had speed zones years ago in school that we never had an ordinance for. The old one was legend. I remember Dave Phillips went up in the 90s. So in other words, somebody has to go around the whole city to find out where these are. It looks
We'll have
like,
to check the code of how.
it looks like meat broken in my mouth. Shush up.
But Jim, if you can the parking be redefined in those areas then? Let's say it's a,
You can impose any restriction that you want on your parking. 2 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours,
no parking.
no parking. I mean, that's up to the council of any point, on any street. We just amend the ordinance to conform to whatever ordinance you guys passed.
The problem with that is that, in order to enforce it, you have to have some way of monitoring that. The way we used to do it is chalk and tire, so that's illegal to do it.
Yeah.
Under the Constitution, you can't chalk tires over them. Right. So being that we can't do that, yeah, it's a time restriction is, unless you put a parking meter up. Yeah, we're not gonna do it,
A witness.
something that it's not.
Yeah, it's difficult to enforce, but
Very
enforceable.
impossible, actually, unless you have something along those lines.
Well, I mean, I'd have to get the consensus of the,
That's my question here. It's like a downtown area, second, third ward split, it's 2 hours downtown parking. So you remove it, you go through and you're gonna do all that painstaking work of re-amending everything. What are you gonna change it to? Just unfeathered, just free access?
that's what's happening
But
anyways.
the problem is, at least right now, even though it's not enforceable, the car pulls in and says, well, I got 2 hours. Maybe they stay 4 or 5, but they leave. You take those signs down, you amend the ordinance, someone's gonna pull into downtown and leave their car there for 3 months and not move it until the October restriction comes in.
That's,
And you're not gonna have any mechanism to enforce it. And then you have to go for an abandoned car law, and then you gotta get Mike involved as the attorney, and they gotta do all kind of, and Brittany's not in their head, yeah, the abandoned car law, it's gonna be a massive mess. You get cars out of there.
Can you isolate that area for no overnight parking? Or like supersede the city code? Or when you restrict?
when we overnight parking in that certain area like down to, you say, because we can park all the cars down there.
Yeah, if you put a time limit. No parking after midnight or something.
Timeframes
Are
are
easy to
workable,
enforce.
yeah.
Like no parking midnight to 6 AM, something of that nature.
Some timeframe is workable, but to say 2 hours or 6 hours, it's gonna be tough.
I look forward to reading this, Jim, when you get it all put together. It's very copious, I guess. Copious amounts of standing ordinances we'll be reading.
All right, I'm not gonna have it. Hold my mouth.
I don't have any suggestions for you
Yeah, okay,
for High Street.
okay, well, we got that,
The parking on Hines in front of the projects.
yeah, this is the estimate.
The cars are there the entire summer.
Is it parking on both sides?
No, on one
One
side,
side, project side.
that's gotta go. They've got their own parking lots. They can't continue to park there all day, for weeks, months. It's coming off the Colonial and turning to the left. You're turning into a one-way Colonial and Hines. Turning it left, it's ridiculous.
We widened that a little bit with the, no standing between the signs, but I think it's a great idea.
Go use their parking lot.
Yeah, they've got it, they've got the part.
They do.
One more thing. The gentleman at Delaware Printing,
Michael,
yeah, wants to see if the city can put some. Planters in front of it, like, you know, the big plant in front of his lot, because. But one time, I think they drove into the building. He's really concerned the way that traffic goes there, and people singing in and out, and that. I don't know, I mean, the city owns the planters, right?
right, they almost $1,500 per plant.
And what we can do about
Yeah,
that,
you split the bollards.
We can't put a cement on top of cement.
Right, or even just.
But you know what, that light is, after, people should be stopping and they do, they think it's a right on red, it's not, because you're not even near that light yet. Enforce that there, which may help too, I don't know. It is an eye corner because it's zigzag, it's not straight, it's straight through.
I remember a few years back,
You know
we had
what?
that problem.
We'll see what we have at DPW, we can put on the corners, it's gotta be halfway, that's, I'm into the city, it's gotta be. Anything but the east, yeah.
I mean, they have the highway. Things there, those concrete things sitting outside, and I don't know, it's pretty,
Well, if you look in front of the pool place, they got these cement planters on this side. And all they are is brick, which is they topped up a bucket in there and plant flowers. Maybe something like that in the corner.
I don't know, I did not talk to him, I think Steve. Mr. Worthing talked to him about it,
I saw that in the
yeah, and it just, he would like to see if the city could do something. And then I know there's been talking, I think in the minutes, it's about that coming into the city, getting that down the one lane, you know, at that corner, you'll go northbound at Belltown. They have that a turn left lane.
Right.
And then the other lane, the right next to the curb, which, you know, because you're coming from the town about what, 75 feet. It's 2 lane and then you go into our 1 lane, technically speaking, you know, that.
people don't.
They don't.
You're not smart enough to know that's to get it 1 lane.
We get that on the other end, and then they would go through 2 lanes and then into 1 lane and into Tim Hortons.
Right.
So it's.
We have that on Delaware.
And we have it in Delaware.
Delaware,
Delaware,
same thing,
same thing.
you know. And I know they're gonna do some painting and striping.
We are, we'll be doing a lot of straightening, just to make it clear, because the child that was injured and was still in the hospital, 10-year-old girl, she ran into the car, but still. But we can make the lines bigger, at the main intersections, like the 5 corners, like some of the school, by the schools, just to make it more visible. I think any little thing we can do to help out will be a benefit.
I brought that up before. They told me 5 corners is a state DOT problem. We don't have the authority to change it or do anything with it.
Well, it's still a road, I can get permission for us to repaint it, I just can't put any other sign or build anything on it.
But we only have certain crosswalks there.
Right.
There's not every corner is a crosswalk.
No, everyone's not. It's the first girl that went through, it was like a mom, she went, made it all the way across, the other one didn't. It's sad, every one of us feel it, and now it's our job, that's why we're doing this education.
Also, there was a bike meeting last week, the talk of putting, on Fillmore, the big thing was Fillmore, besides the other stuff. And Young, Glenwood and Alexander, trying to figure that out a little bit better, because that's a terrible little intersection. With the people jogging, biking, whatever that. Plus, on Fillmore, from the committee last week, the bicycle safety committee, from Prescott to the DPW to put those bumps, removable ones, like you know, I don't have the money to go to Remington, but I hear this. They got one in front of there, you know.
Seasonal speed bump.
It's something to slow them down, because when they want to make that bridge, which is a terrible place for a bike to come, the cars are coming each way. So if we put the bump, some type of bumps before, a bump after, and then in the middle, because they go after that for 60 miles an hour down to East Niagara. So to help slow those cars down.
Yeah,
They're temporary, we figure right out there.
If you're gonna go there, I have a whole request, so I can work people that wanted to, they don't want speed humps, but temporary speed bump would definitely be an option they were looking at.
Wheeler work will for extra.
Yep. Wheeler.
Dave's gonna get us a price on the temporary one, just so, it's a spike, just to put a spike in the ground. It puts a hole in it, but still, you pull it out for winter.
For winter, they
The
plow.
plows just pull grip.
Yeah. Or the rooms of blades, $1,000. Yeah, and they were talking about putting 2 of those, like a third way down.
Right. We're waiting to get the price.
Right,
Where-
DPW, But as you say, how many more do we put up?
Yeah, but if they're, if they're affordable, or we can build it into the
Cost.
budget, if we build it into the budget and we do that. You could easily pick 3, 4 problem locations in each ward and say, this is my traffic problem. And put those in, and you don't actually have to leave them there, you could do a month at Delton and Delaware, you do a month, not that we would do it there. And you do a month there, and then you would move it to somewhere else, it's just the mental of someone going, oh, I know there's a speed bump there, and it's not even there anymore, it's like, you know, if we removed it, you move down to another location. And like I said, it's nothing more than a spike hole that you have to fill in some asphalt on or some tar to cover the hole. And then we're gonna be pulling them all anyways come October. Getting ready for the fall, pull them all out, and then guess what, April, when parking restrictions go back in, boom, the temporary speed bumps start going to different locations. Or you can just leave them in permanent
Yeah,
locations.
look at the price, and
That'll
I
slow people
suggest
down.
with each person, each council member in your area, make a list of maybe a couple of streets or if you'd like those on, we can entertain that once we get the price.
Jim, did you have one?
Oh,
Mr. Bridger?
I only have one, and it's going back to Jim's traffic safety. So the question still remains, the First Presbyterian Church Growing in Faith Together Sunday signs that showed up on Main and Delta. Do we know who put these in or who authorized?
No authority from my office and no authority from, traffic and safety.
Traffic safety didn't know anything about it. They said they left, they adjourned it in leaving it to the mayor to find out. And the reason why I bring it up is, we've had a request to review a resolution to designate, pretty much all of Delaware of the Harriet Tubman Trail. And one of the parts of that resolution says that we cannot have any for-profit naming rights or something to that effect in there. Well, this just randomly showed up. We don't know if this is for-profit, not for-profit, if someone was paid, who paid for the signage, where the bill come from, who even put it in the ground?
Not us.
No one knows.
I mean,
But they showed up all over.
The DPW would read it because they didn't do the work.
Yeah. But no one, but there wasn't like one showed up, multiple have showed up.
I'm sure it's obviously put it up. I put a call into it, not no response. Yeah.
So can we take them down?
We sure can, we have the authority. They have no right to put them up.
It's an unauthorized sign.
Take down.
And then traffic safety did piggyback on it through Google Maps with me. Was in front of the one on Main and Delton, about 2 feet in front of it on the brick, was 265 north.
Right.
That, they presumed that it got hit or something in an accident, it got knocked down. And then in its place, about 2 feet north of it, this one showed up.
Yeah, if you want the church to call it back right away, we'll put the signs that don't right away.
Yeah, or they don't, they might not even know the signs are, maybe a good Samaritan donated them, they didn't tell them, no, this is like their mystery phantom signs that show up.
Take them, put them back in the churches along the fire.
If they even knew they were there to begin with, they might not even
We'll
know.
pull them and look.
No, I have no clue.
Mr. Oster?
Following up on a couple of things, the repairs of lights, the LED lights, I know there's a couple out on the park, and we've got some other ones.
I'm sure and answer that, I'm sure.
The crew started, I had to send them a Google map of what Elmwood Park, like, because they didn't know what it was, I'm like, there is a.
They're not gonna find it because there's no
right there.
lights.
Right, but, there's a new subcontractor that's taking care of the lights, and they are, the gentleman's name is private, very responsive, so he's catching up on the other things that.
So there's a two at the end of the line, so there's needs to be some work on that,
Yes.
based on the weather, and there's one that was hit by a car.
And our electrical signal department is going to attempt to fix the one at the corner, I'm not sure.
Okay.
In Elmwood,
Yep.
they were waiting for some hot gloves to come in because they have to have certain.
Yeah, we won't let them touch
They'll
until they
be
get the proper PPE.
Using, they'll be touching hot wires, so we have to make sure that they have the proper. But I am in touch with some repair, some street light repair, police, we don't call them.
These are all under our contract for repair.
Well, yeah, over $2,500, so they have to have the mayor sign off on it. We did, the mayor did
Yeah,
authorize.
that was
One
months.
that-
That was an emergency, one, right?
Along.
Yeah.
For
No, people are gonna be asking again as the weather's getting nicer.
Right, absolutely, and I.
At least it's,
remind-
at least it's later, so when I come around that corner on my bike, I'm not as worried.
Right. And I told him, I said, I'm going to keep asking this one, our council member lives right across the street, so his eye is on this. This needs to be done.
The only one, Sean, that we eliminated was the 1 and 2 Morton's parking lot, that's our parking lot.
Yeah.
It's been knocked down several times. So we just took it out, flattened it out, it's gone.
Oh, so,
We're not gonna put it back on.
I emailed you too, you said you were mentioned to like, progress at, the splash pad.
Yes, the splash pad, they are, actually Jason Mitchell today. They left the job because there are some problems with their concerns with material and. They were a little bit, so what we did, they walked up the job, well, now they Jason Mitchell today, and they are going back to do, back on a job to get it done. Unfortunately, you get what you pay for. And, but they, you know what, I just wanna make sure the bulk of the jackhammering is done and removing all the dust and that doesn't go with kids in the pool before the pool.
And that was a bigger concern too, is this gonna impede the opening of the pool?
Those still gonna open up when.
Yeah, just one other thing, a lot of questioning, people questioning too, and I don't know if you were planning on talking about it later too, is any progress on the DRI acceptance?
Yes, I do, we talked about.
That's it.
Yeah, I almost hate to bring it up because it was such a long drawn out discussion a few years ago, but. Figured why not again. Park Mobile reached out to me last week. They're the company that's in charge of, what they do is they. Pay for parking, for the parking meters, and asked if we would be interested in having them come in and meet. To discuss maybe pay for parking down at the river. Anything like that, so I figured I'd bring it to you guys to see.
I think we should, I love that conversation.
Especially if we're talking about changing the parking regulations.
Well, that's kind of, it's like I turn into the
Yes.
parking meeting. So. In their initial email, you know, the first thing, of course, they're gonna say is there's no upfront cost to the city.
Yeah.
Right. I think it at least bears the discussion. To see about bringing in some parking meters down at the river.
I agree.
And go from there.
Not actually meters, right? I mean, it's
Well, it's the
It's all
digital
together.
ones, yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, the
like the kiosk, the kiosk.
they are in Buffalo.
A lot of ones in Buffalo, proximity, you gotta download the app and.
Correct.
Which can be confusing to, well, people like Jim. Yeah,
No, it's 2025, technically.
exactly.
Take it to your windshield. What's it?
Yes, the DRI, I've been in contact with Ben Vidal and Ben said it. Thought it was happening last Friday and it didn't, so he said we should have an answer this week. So we're waiting for that and we submitted 12 projects to the state. And basically what the state's gonna do is say yay, nay, and tell us which ones they're gonna support. And the biggest one is, of course, Karuba, 124 apartments. And if we do the 124 apartments, that makes it, it's gonna change our downtown because we're gonna have 124 apartments with maybe 200 people down there. Where they have breakfast, where they have lunch, where they have dinner. Now, maybe someone move into McDonald's, someone take care of consumer beverage, someone move into, it's just a snowball effect and it's exciting, but. We're just in a waiting period and unfortunately, it's supposed to be April, May possibly, and that was the original conversation, April or May. So we're still in the wait for the next week.
So my question with that is with all the Trump tariffs coming, are these companies still willing to invest and purchase the materials and?
All of them, absolutely. The 16 Main Street, the old American Legion, she's already invested, $500,000 into that already, just upstairs. So she's got a vested interest, she has to finish it. But all the DRI projects understand that they have to finish the project before they get reimbursed. And that's one of the big things. And the second thing is that they have to keep it and not sell it for 5 years. So they just can't, like, what I'm concerned about is Mustafa with the cancel. He's almost 80 years old now. So unless he gives it to his family member, he gets it, he fixes the roof this weekend, then he is at a huge event center place. I just want to make sure he stays on board, so, and 77 Young Street is all set, ready to rock and roll. He came in
And they're still willing to do that.
kind of, yeah, they're excited. He said, hell, they've built in less than.
I'd be so worried, I'd be so worried at taking a bath on that. That is,
It can't hurt us, except for the fact that it would hurt us in revenue that we expected to come from some of these projects.
no, I
Once they
understand
get
that.
built, once they get built up.
That was
Every
just-
one of them, I've talked to, they're ready to run.
Good.
They're ready to run.
No, you said about like Mustafa there, now, is there a lien held on that building
No.
now with that money?
No.
If he dies before the 5 years and, to another
You had them collect.
All it did, though, how do we
I'm
collect
sure,
that money
I'm
then?
sure if they pick them, the state will have an ironclad contract with.
The state would go back to
Yeah.
reimbursement.
Right.
And they're 10 million, so
Against the estate, right?
against whoever that building.
Yeah, it would be $500,000 for him, 3 million for approval, you know, whatever the national is for them. That's why 77 Young Street hasn't done it. You know, Mayor, why is 77 Young Street just standing there? Because he doesn't want to start and lose potential money that he's got to come up with, let's say, $500,000, so he's ready to rock and roll. He built the exact same one in Lewiston, or Youngstown, I'm sorry. Two apartments, I think, 20 side, 4 apartments, and mixed use in the middle. Exact format you're just gonna use to build the same thing.
Just to revisit, everything was resolved with the DOT access points or property there.
No. We've done our bit.
We're done.
We've given them a lease on our property. We've also going to sell it to them eventually. But to expedite his financing, we signed a lease with them for our part. They're supposed to be dealing with the state. State was gonna do like a lease or something, but I don't know. The state has not decided what they're gonna do. It's like too small.
Waiting again.
Okay, Mayor, anything else?
No,
Okay. No. Okay. I'll make a motion to go into executive session for personnel of particular people. Do I have a second?
I think we should wait to the end. I'm getting my
How long
kids.
do you need?
Well, we just had those kids come.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're coming at 6:49.
Are they here?
Yeah, I just watched a bunch of kids.
Okay. This one, will take on.
Okay, do I have a second? Second by Ryan. All those in favor?
Aye. Bless you, what?
Yes.
Send me the muscle, you'll get.
Make sure you take your vote. Not. Drive the city and find these things. That's right.
Yeah, we just want to get
Mayor and
Right, general, yeah, you gotta sign on about that.
Yeah.
It's because of that.
Is it?
Teasley,
Here.
Fisher.
Here.
Roundstraw,
Here.
Mylum,
Here.
Cook.
Here, please stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag, the United States of America. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, I'd like to call up Mr. Dave Nadell for the presentation of the Arbor Day Kids Coloring Contest.
Good evening. The City of Tonawanda Recreation Department held a Arbor Day coloring contest and it culminated on April 25th, Arbor Day, where we planted 4 trees at the park to start hopefully a blueberry orchard up there for the animals and all the park visitors. So I'm going to call up the 4 winners, or 5 winners, sorry. Starting with our kindergartner representative, Cora Kirkwood. Alyssa Sabran. Our second grader, Kiara Robinson. Our third grader, Aya Smith. Fourth grader, Melania Lisa.
Yeah. And then you say, well.
Let's give them all they can. Great job. They all receive a or they will receive a guitar.
Chitra,
Thank you.
Chitra, you can put them up on the stage if you need to.
Mr. Clerk, please mute the microphone.
It's picking up the hot mic.
Yes. You think this has too much information on it? It's kind of. Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. She does.
It's some money, it's.
They're all processed. They're all. So this is what they said.
Can you go tell Mario to mute his microphone?
I don't think it was Bill, Bill's right there.
Okay. Mr. Clerk,
Yes, ma'am. I had to unmute.
okay. Can you mute the other microphones? We're getting some reception from somewhere.
Yeah, I hear that too, and I can't pinpoint it.
The councilman.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Clerk, can you please read the notice of the public hearing?
Yes, ma'am. Public hearing to amend Tonawanda City Code Section 62-193, Schedule 15, entitled No Standing of Vehicles on the East Side of Dexter from Tussing Lane to a point 100 feet north.
Okay, I will open this public hearing at this time. Any resident wishing to address the council on the public hearing, please approach the microphone. Mr. Clerk, we have a comment on the floor. We just need your name and address for the record.
Okay, I'm Catherine Burke, and I live at 100 Dexter Street, which is the street we're talking about. My concern is that when you're pulling onto or off of Dexter to Tussing, you can't see traffic coming towards you. And the street's not that wide. We're the only street that runs north and south until you get to Clarence Harder. That's a two-way parking. So I don't think it should be a big problem to put that in. I'd like it to be safer.
Any other comments?
Not much, but I have a map if you want.
We'll take your map. I'll distribute it to the council and the mayor.
I made all of 5 copies.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other comments?
Hello, Randy Walker, 128 Dexter Street. I just wanted to comment on the intersection down there. I know winter time is a tough time on Dexter and Tussing because the guys can't actually plow the street down there with cars parked on both sides. They have to use pickup truck and try to plow it that way, so it never gets plowed correctly. And I know the pumper truck or the ladder truck with fire department is not going to fit down the street in case of a fire. To me, that's a huge safety issue. And coming off of Delaware, when you want to turn onto Dexter, and there's cars coming up Dexter, you can't make the turn And you got other cars coming behind you off of Delaware, which is a busy street. So I've had a few times where I couldn't actually go down Dexter. I had to go to the next street to make the right hand turn. But I think you're asking for it. It's a huge safety thing. Again, cars coming out of Delaware. And you're stuck on Tussing. You can't get out of the way. You know what I mean? To me, it's like, and then you got all the cars that are back trying to back out of Franklin's. So that's another bottleneck. So I just think you need to move the parking farther down the street, get it away from the corner. So you can at least turn on Dexter to get out of the way of the car that's coming. But you can't do that when you're stuck in the middle of Tustin. You gotta wait for the other car who's already committed to coming down the road. You know, to me, I don't think we're asking a lot to change the parking down there. I mean, alternating parking would be better all the way around in wintertime, plows, so they could plow both sides of the street, which they can't do now at all. You know, we had a pretty wicked winter this year. You know, so they were never actually able to plow that down, correct? So it was always narrowing. You know, and it would get to the point where if I'm coming down there by that corner, it's barely wide enough for me to get through. So I know the fire department's not getting through there. I mean, to me, that's a huge red flag. They can't get through there. We got a problem. That's all I gotta say.
All right, any other comments on the public hearing?
I have one from Jack Gallagher at 204 Dexter.
Okay, you can read it for the record.
On the record, on behalf of Jack Gallagher, 204 Dexter, Mr. Gallagher did see me in person and said to me that he just does feel 100 feet is too long, that he would like to see it, if it was gonna be no standing here in the corner, he would like to see it shorter. That was all. I have to read it.
Okay, any other comments for a public hearing? Any other comments on the public hearing? I have to ask one more time. Any other comments on the public hearing? No, you gotta do it for the microphone.
Yeah. I measured 100 feet. Oh, that's for 100 Dexter Street. I measured 100 feet. It doesn't even go to the dumpster for Franklin's. So I think 100 feet, well, it's less than what I was hoping for. We'll make it a whole lot safer. 50 feet is nothing. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments on the public hearing? Any other comments on the public hearing? One more time. Any other comments on the public hearing? All right, the public hearing is hereby closed. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to the mayor for his presentation of the Veteran of the Month. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. It's my pleasure tonight because it's my one friend from high school. I was in a homeroom from junior high all the way through Danell, and it's my pleasure to do this tonight. Thomas Pazak. We got two of them tonight from the same family, a father and a son. Tom Pazak, in 1966, during the Vietnam era, Tom Pazak was drafted and joined the U.S. Air Force. Following basic training after tech school, Tom was sent to Maidenhall in England for 3 years as a member of the security police and law enforcement in charge of guarding the airplanes. Following that detail, he was sent to the Falls in Oregon for 1 year, in which he was honorably discharged. Tom continued his service to our country in the U.S. Army Reserves, working in a chemical lab from 1972 to 1976. In 1985, he rejoined the U.S. Air Force Reserves out of Niagara Falls, serving until his retirement in 2005. Thomas Pazak served in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and Iraq Freedom. He was honorably discharged from both the U.S. Air Force and the U.S. Army. His awards and commendations include the National Defense Service Medal, the Armed Forces Medal, Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal, Air Force Outstanding Unit Award, Air Force Good Conduct Medal, Small Arms and Expert Marksman Ribbon. Tom was a letter carrier in the city of Tonawanda for 32 years on top of everything else he did. A 51 member of COT Active Fire Hose, a member of the American Legion Post 264, and a coach for Little League in his spare time in the city of Tonawanda and North Tonawanda. Thomas Pazak, we thank you for your honorable service to your country and to the city of Tonawanda. Thank you, Tom. Got a father and son, now we're gonna do the son. And I understand he's on Zoom listening to this, so It's fantastic because he's out of the country right now. Thomas Ryan Pazek. Prior to graduating from Taiwan High School in 2006, Ryan enlisted in the United States Marine. Following boot camp in October 2006, Ryan went to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, where he attended combat training and was assigned to 1142 Basic Engineering Equipment Electrical Systems Technician. That's what he was. 2008, Ryan was deployed in Iraq for 8 months, where he was assigned to carry a M249 machine gun, which led him to serve as a turret gunner in over 100 missions in his stay throughout Ramadi, Baghdad, and Fallujah and other areas. 2009, while assigned to a special training exercise in Virginia, he was assigned to the 1st Battalion, 6th Marines in their completion of operation. They were doing overseas. Ryan returned from Afghanistan in 2010. He received the following accommodations: Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal for his achievements in heroic duties during Operation Mashtak, Sea Service Deployment Ribbon, Iraq Campaign Medal with 1 Bronze Silver Star, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, NATO Medal, as ISAF Afghanistan Award, and also a summary of action recognizing Private First Class Pazek as an immeasurable asset for the 1st Battalion, 6th Marines, which he was in. Following his honorable discharge from the U.S. Marine Corps in 2010, Ryan returned to Tonawanda and attended the ITT Technical Institute of Technology in Guttsville, graduating with an associate degree in electronics, engineering, and technology. So in 2015, Ryan married Olivia Loomis, and they now reside in Florida. So Ryan, if you are in Florida, congratulations, and we thank you for your service, Ryan, to both your country and your city. And I know you're listening, and my friend, thank you for your service. We're going to bring Dad up here, and we're going to give him the awards for both. What we're going to do is we're actually going to put you and Ryan on the same certificate, and this certificate will be in the hall in for a whole month until next month. Veteran Month is back, but that's what yours looks like. That's what's going to go up there. And these are the 2. One is for Veteran of the Month for Ryan. Who wants to hold Ryan's? And this one is Veteran of the Month for Thomas. And this is the one that both of you will go up in the hall. I'm Robin, and taking one from me and give me another. How's that? Okay. Okay. Everybody smile. Very proud of you both.
I can say Scooter, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's only 2 people.
One.
Don't be moving your hands.
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Scooter always like that. It wouldn't be right without saying Scooter, that's right.
Okay, communications from the mayor have been ordered and filed. Communications from city officials, correspondence have also been ordered and filed. At this time, we'll now take comments by the public on the resolutions. For those that are joining us in person, please approach the microphone. For those that are joining us virtually, there is a spot for you to raise your hand. Please do so, and the clerk will call upon you. Any comments on the resolutions? Mr. Clerk, any resident wishing to address the council on the resolutions?
No, Madam President.
Okay, we will proceed.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to forego the reading of the minutes.
Mr. Clerk, I have a motion on the floor by Mr. Mylum to waive readings of 1 through 4. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sheasley. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Roudstrau,
Aye.
Mylum.
Aye.
Cook.
Aye. Declare waiving of the readings 1 through 4.
Resolution number 1, sponsored by Councilmember Mylum.
Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Rosenstroh. Comments or questions? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Teasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Raubenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum. Cook,
I declare the resolution adopted.
resolution number 2 by Councilmember Sheasley.
Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Mylum. Comments or questions? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Teasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Raubenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum.
Aye.
Cook,
I declare the resolution adopted.
resolution number 3 sponsored by Councilmember Raubenstrau.
I'll second. Comments or questions?
Just quick comment.
Mr. Raubenstrau.
Just want to say, it's a great event. Come on out to be a honest public, probably see serving you sometime during the day. Honest public will do those great jobs. Our folks get a little bit of favor. Just do a great, tremendous amount of service for our city. So please come out and help support us.
Thank you, Mr. Raubenstrau. Any other comments? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Teasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Raubenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum. Cook,
I declare the resolution adopted. Mr. Clerk, resolution number 4.
yep, resolution number 4 sponsored by Councilmember Mylum.
Sponsored by Councilmember Sheasley.
Sheasley, oh, my mistake, sorry about that.
Mr. Sheasley. Second by Mr. Mylum. Comments or questions? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Teasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Raubenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum.
Aye.
Cook,
I declare the resolution adopted. At this time, we'll now take comments by the public following the resolutions. For those that are joining us in person, please approach the microphone. For those that are joining us virtually, please raise your hand and the clerk will call upon you. Any comments following the resolutions?
It's just on the resolutions.
Nope, this is now anything. Mr. Clerk, we have a comment on the floor.
That's why I said it's sick culture. I'm sure you're looking at me and you know what I'm gonna say. I hope you don't have a prejudged opinion. This isn't easy. This isn't my forte. I don't get up and speak in public. I'm a very private person. That's how much this is getting. This has been a 2-year talk we've been having. Maybe I've been going at it the wrong way and not getting it across to you. I'm going to use the example of if somebody came and was doing graffiti on my house and pulling out my shrubs and my flowers and everything, I would go to the police station and tell them about it, and I would hope that they would look into it for me and try and solve that problem. The only difference is we know who's pulling out my shrubs, but we know who's damaging my property. We know a solution for it, but we don't want to do anything about it. And I don't know why. All right. And I guess I got to direct a lot of it right to you, Mr. Mayor, because I think you're the main man. It's between you and the chief. Talk to the chief, plus I'm speaking out loud. I think he's in agreement with me. Also, before I say this is, I don't get up here and say this to you before I talk to my colleagues. I think Dave will tell you that we've had conversations. We've been very frank with each other. We said there's no ground rules for when we talk. I tell him what I think. He tells me what I think. Other issues besides the steer issue from the city, him and I have talked about. He's presented some of them, I know, to the council. They haven't been done. But I try and go through him first. You're the last person. I don't want to be up here. I hate this. Come at my house at 8 o'clock. Here's my thing that I do. I stretch my 20-foot, 6-foot fence across the one opening so the deer can't get to the backyard. Then I stack up my chairs on my deck
and put 2x6s across it, so they can't jump over there, because they'll walk right across the deck. I understand I made a yard that is very conducive to the deer, they love it. They couldn't ask for a nicer place to have their fawns like they do every year. But that's not my problem. I put too much, she can feed her fawns and then she can eat all my hostas at the same time. I understand it. I have no dogs to chase them away. It's a fenced yard. It's beautiful for them. My wife says, we're not buying any flowers this year because I'm not having them eat my flowers. And she shouldn't have to buy flowers that are deer resistant. She should be able to buy the flowers that she wants, that are pretty, to set around. And I'm saying this to you is, you know, you don't have to be a leader in this. You got to pick up the phone and call North Tonawanda, Clarence, Amherst. They'll tell you what to do. They'll tell you how to get rid of them. I have a son that runs a golf course in Amherst. And the police come to him and say, you want to shoot deer on your golf course? Go right ahead, shoot them all, he says. And the people that live around there, they call him and say, hey, I see what looks like you've been, yes, yeah, we're killing the deer here. If there's any problems, he said, call me. And I say this, and I say to the people here, if you don't agree with me, call me and tell me on the phone, and I'll tell you all the things that towns are doing to get, it's not the deer's fault, we've run them out, okay? They got no place to go. And I'm not accusing the other aldermen, but they're not affecting you guys. It's all us up here in on the fourth ward. We're getting the brunt of it, but they'll get down to you sooner or later. And just the week before last, they come up East Niagara Street, and there's a dead deer laying right on the bike path, right where the highway comes over. So I feel sorry for the person that hit it, and I feel sorry for that deer, because it probably died an awful death laying there. I don't know what it takes. I don't know if you're an animal lover, your wife, your daughter, if you have a daughter, I don't know who's pushing. I'm asking you, I'm pleading for you to help me so I have some quality of life, that I don't have to go through. I spent $100 this week on buying a new deer spray that I think's better. I have some sensors that I bought. They're supposed to send out a strobe light and chase the animals away. 2 years ago, I spent $1,200 to replace my shrubs. And it's not because I didn't fence them, which I'd done for years. I'm getting too old to get out there in the winter and put up fence after Christmas, after my lights come down. Please help me, do something about it. Don't stick your head in the sand anymore.
Well, first of all, we're not sticking our head.
Okay,
in
thank
the
you
sand.
for your comments. Mayor, would you?
You have a committee? Is there a committee form that I don't know about?
No,
Mr. Fry,
I-
thank you for your comments.
Sir, listen, I understand your situation. It's not just you, it's all over the city. My secretary lives over on Adams Street. She can't even get into the clubs work for her plants because they've eaten all her plants. The deer are creatures of habits. They've got hamburger in the woods, like I told you, they got filet mignon on your property. They're going for the filet mignon. We pushed them out of their properties. We gave them, now we're 2 miles across. Amherst is huge. North Tonawanda, you can go and shoot over there. There's areas. We're a two, you
What
know
did we
what?
say the last meeting I had?
We don't have the
29
room.
deer were behind the fire hall 2 Mile Creek. Start there.
Okay, thank you.
Nobody's there. There's no reason not to do it.
Mr. Fry, you're allowed 3 minutes. I've exceeded that 3 minutes. Now I want.
We've talked to.
Got anybody else that wants to talk?
Okay,
Give me their 3 minutes.
thank you for your comments.
Come out and see me tomorrow. I'd love to sit down and talk. The reasons
What am
why.
I gonna tell you any different than I?
Well, I'm gonna tell you different what we've done. You think we're not
You
doing
got a
it?
plan? I mean, if you got a plan that you're gonna tell me, I'll be glad to sit down.
Can you come in and see me, please? Please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Fry. Any other comments by the public? Mr. Clerk, we have a comment on the floor.
Good evening, Mayor, Madam President, and council members and residents here in the city of Tonawanda. My name is Ali Spangardigan. I'm a resident of the city of Buffalo, and I work in Niagara Falls, and I'm here to speak on the Harriet Tubman proposed byway that I've shared with the town clerk and also just recently also with the city council. I just want to give a little background for information, hopefully answer any questions just by giving this information. So right now, it's called the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad proposed byway. It's a New York State, or it will be a New York State byway. It stretches 550 miles from Manhattan up through the Hudson Valley to Albany, over across the state, and ending in Niagara Falls. What it will do when it gets to Western New York, it'll come through Lockport and drop down to the town of Amherst into the city of Buffalo, and then back up north through the village of Kenmore, town of Tonawanda, city of Tonawanda, North Tonawanda, Wheatfield, and ending in Niagara Falls. A little mouthful there. So that's kind of the route here in Western New York. Through the city here, it goes down Delaware. And the purpose of this byway is to bring recognition to the history that happened in our state. Harriet Tubman, freedom seekers, Underground Railroad abolitionists have helped shape the nation's story, and we want to recognize that. We're going to add on with the Maryland Harriet Tubman Byway, the Delaware and Pennsylvania Harriet Tubman Byways, and New Jersey is in conversation to follow New York. And so this route is a drivable road, so it's on the roadways that already exist. No changes will be added, or there's nothing that needs to change as a result. It's just a designated roadway. It's approved by New York State DOT. We're seeking 2 segments of designation in January 2026. So right now we're looking at, if I go backwards the other way, Niagara Falls over to Madison County. And in total, there's 22 counties, 170 jurisdictions. And the reason I'm able to be here to speak with you in person tonight is because I'm local here to Western New York, but we have folks working on this all across the state. And it's through the organization called the Underground Railroad Consortium of New York State, of which I serve as the president. And in my, I guess, so to speak, day job, I'm the director of the Niagara Falls Underground Railroad Heritage Center, just over the county border in Niagara County. So that's why I come to you today to share this information. What it means for a municipality to sign off on the resolution is stating support for the byway and any of the activities that occur, which could be educational, programmatic, tourism-based, and it also drives economic development. The nuts and bolts of this is, and I know it was mentioned earlier by the Councilmember Fisher about specifically that there would be some signage restrictions. So DOT requires any of their state byways to not allow off-premise commercial signage, and it basically means billboards in the typical sense. If you think of a billboard that's really big on the side of the road, that brings advertisement for something that is not on that site. So if we think about Delaware here, it has mostly business signage. I don't believe there's any billboards in this stretch here in the city of Tonawanda at this time. If there were, or in other areas where they are, they can be grandfathered in by DOT. So there's an assessment, and all those that are there can still stay there. There's no issue with that. It's to prevent new ones from coming online, to preserve the scenic qualities and focus on this as a historical byway. So I just want to give you those nuts and bolts of that. We're looking to, or we're requesting that it come to council for review and approval at hopefully your next meeting, which I believe might be June 3rd. I'm thinking of that off the top of my head. So we would just like to formally make that request, and that's what I'm also here to add on. And if there's any questions for me now or at a later time, happy to.
So what I'd like to do, we received it about 3 o'clock today. I'd like the council to have an opportunity to review your email. And I'd like to invite you June 3rd at 6 p.m. That'll give the council the opportunity to prepare, any questions that they may have at that time. Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, can you just notate that for June 3rd at 6 p.m.?
Yes, Madam President.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Clerk, any resident joining us virtually wish to address the council?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Sheasley.
With the tragedies that happened in the city, I'll start with the Twin City Memorial. The young lady died. I know of one other one happened early 80s. I was on a call and the gentleman was killed also. But there's a committee going with the gentleman from Millstream, and he started that, putting a lot of pressure on the state. It's a state-run roadway, so our we're limited to what we can do. Changing lights and this and that will have to be with a study that the state is, I guess, promised, Mayor, correct?
There's many avenues they're doing for it.
Yeah, and so the gentleman has a little connection also with the state DOT, which always helps out to our area. The second thing is when the little girl who was still in the hospital, God bless her, with the e-bike, we got, and I know the mayor's going to touch on it again, the Traffic Safety Committee has approached this issue. The police department, Chief Plantz's
people have been warning, I think, and now starting to write, correct, chief? Write summonses, because there's a lot of things, e-bikes are just, they don't follow any rules, they have to. They can't be in the parks, they can't be on our rails to trails and the other bike path and all that. They have to adhere to all vehicle and traffic, they don't. A guy just ran a red light when I was coming here. It's just horrific. And the parents, we have to educate the public. And part of that is with the enforcement, because suddenly somebody gets a ticket, they start thinking a little bit better. You know, they start in that, and it's gotta, because we can't have another little 10-year-old be in the hospital like this. And then also the girl on the TCMH, but it's, as an ex-cop, it's just people, the ignorance of it, or I've gotta get there real quick with the vehicles and running the red light. That's my area. I live around the corner from Luxon, the TCMH, and I wait a good 5 seconds before I even get under that intersection, because people come flying. But you know, it's something we have to address, and also the police department's doing a great job with it. And so information, I know the mayor's gonna go over it, but the June 2nd is a big night, and I don't, you know, if you don't even have a child, please come. Please come to that information thing. It's gonna be put on to the chief and Officer Worthing, and so please, that's it. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Sheasley. Mr. Fisher.
Circling back to the May 3rd meeting, I did bring up that there was 2 fatalities and a child injured. And I said, these are things that the police department can't unsee, and I mean that, but my oversight was on the fire department. I do want to say that the fire department is top notch with also responding to that. And it was just an oversight that I didn't mention the firefighters on that day, so I apologize for not adding them. I think our firefighters are terrific. For Chris Fisher Gives Back this week, it goes to Tonawanda Youth Wrestling. Congratulations to the Veterans of the Month. I say veterans with an S, Air Force and Marines. Interesting combo. I'd like to address the deer comment. We have plenty of deer in the 2nd Ward. Anybody who comes to the cemeteries, they're living in the cemetery. The deers live in, I have 3 cemeteries there between Maine and Kohler. They hop back and forth. They get struck by cars. They get stuck on the fence. What they do, I have the same fence as the cemetery fencing. They don't hop it all the time. They run through it, and they leave bows in the fence. It's a problem, but I have a dog, so you know, they come in and then the dog chases them right back out. So I also like to say thank you to Pat Trimper, Randy Walker, and Jack Gallagher for your comments on this. We brought it up in the letter I wrote. We brought this to traffic safety. A lot of the times the response is take no action. So if we have to take action, we'll take action, and that's what we did today. So I thank you guys for coming out today. And so the public hearing is just the first part of that, but wheels are in motion. So we're doing something. That's what matters. And I thank you guys. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Mr. Rounstrau.
Thank you, Madam President. Real quick, I'd like to say thank you to Tom Ryan, that's it. Service. Sir. To that note, just a reminder, this weekend, Memorial Day. Obviously taking the time to while you're vacationing or camping this weekend, remember those that be and don't forget there's a Memorial Day service on Sunday morning on the Renaissance Bridge. Just again, express my appreciation to our local veterans for putting that out. It's a great event. It's great that we remember some years that they've been doing kind of tradition. So thank you for that. One last thing I'd like to mention too is it's great to see the plant swap and COT Diversity United in the park this weekend. It's a great turnout. To see some people there. It's disappointing that the common playground was canceled due to weather on Saturday. But I look forward to more events over the summer for our kids as well as for our residents to do. So keep an eye out on their page. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rounstrau. Mr. Mylum.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you to the Basics, former neighbors. Former babysitter. When I was a wee thing. But thank you. Yeah. Yeah. It's really, I love it when the veterans come in, because we really get to learn about you. And the sacrifices that you made, and having what happened throughout your life, so thank you. And thank you to your family. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Mylum. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. The Payzex, thank you. God bless. And for the men and women this weekend celebrating the people who made the ultimate sacrifice, we had nothing but prayers for the families. Part-time person came into the Parks Department. His name is Jeff Inman. I just want to say kudos to Jeff. He actually cut those plants down properly. If you look at Canal Street, it looks very, very clean. He did a great job, and I went and thanked him for it and shook his hand, because the first person that knew that the tall grass can be cut all the way down in the fall, preferably, but at least they're cut down and stunt the growth a little bit, but they'll be growing correctly, not 8-9 feet tall. That's what they were over there. So congratulations to Jeff and the Parks Department for doing that. I really appreciate that. Our hearts get broken when we have somebody get hurt, like that 10-year-old on the bicycle. So got together with our bike committee, got together with Conrad, Bill Conrad, who's the assemblyman, and also legislator John Bargnesi, and a lot of good people like the North Tonawanda Neighborhood Watch, like the Kiwanis Club, like the Exchange Club. They all put money in, and I got a price for $17, $18 a helmet, and the minimum order was 50. So I ordered 50 helmets, which was what, $900? So I ordered it. I don't know how I was gonna get the money, but it works in mysterious ways, and all of a sudden we got $1,100. So we're gonna buy a lot of helmets, and I got 25 by the Neighborhood Watch from North Tonawanda, because we partner in a lot of things between Tonawanda and North Tonawanda. And so we're gonna give away over 100 helmets on the 2nd of next month. So our committee's gonna be there. We're gonna introduce the sponsors, we're gonna introduce the politicians, just that they care and their people too. Because our goal is to educate, not just the kids and the parents, but the people who ride the cars, because they need to be more concerned of their surroundings when they get to a stop sign. We got Cranbrook, which is a concern. We got Young Street, which is a concern, State Street, we got Fillmore, and we got East Niagara. And that doesn't include the 3 bridges. So the cars fly, they don't pay attention, but neither do the bikes. And like Jim said, the e-bikes make it a new concern. Our new path, we never had a path behind my house when I was a kid on Maldener, the old NFTA trail. So there's a lot of new trails, a lot of new places to ride, and we need to get them in line. Education is the best tool. Sat down with Chief. We put together a nice presentation, 40-minute PowerPoint by Officer Stephen Worthling. I'll introduce everybody in the beginning. We're going to go over our concerns. Daryl Christman's going to talk on behalf of our organization. And then we're going to end it with, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thanks for at least being concerned about the kids. Speaking about the kids, I talked to Dr. Tim Oldenburg, the superintendent, and he's involved, sponsor of it also. And he's going to hand them out to all the parents. Will get that note in their knapsacks. I hope they read them, but they'll all go home with the kids. It's on our page, our city page, my page. I hope the council, I think, doing the same thing. They all care. We all care. So to show it, we're going to put this education seminar together. Education is the best tool. Now we got to put it to use. Use our noggins. Educate the parents. Some are going to be a little tough. But I remember when I was a kid, you couldn't stop where I rode. I rode, and so did you. We all just rode. But it's a lot different now. Now these things go 15 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, and they ride without helmets. So I think if we can do a little bit of education, we hit 5-10 parents, we save some lives. And that's the goal. And not just what we educate, but they're gonna walk away with 100 helmets. Now that girl, it was 10 on the 5 corners, if she wasn't wearing a helmet, she wouldn't be with us today. So the helmets do save lives. And that's another point we're just trying to get across. So it's a big event. I think we should have a packed house. And again, we're going to address safety and education through education. So it'll be a good event. And if you have a chance, come on down. You don't even have to have kids, just a driver. Come on down. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Congratulations to our Arbor Day coloring contest award winners. I can't wait to see the final product, but kudos to all of you. Thank you very much, Ryan and Tom, for your service, not only to our country, but also our city. Thank you to the family as well. You're wonderful people, so thank you very much. Tomorrow, the Erie Niagara Sunrise Exchange Club is going to be recognizing and honoring some volunteer committees throughout our community. So I want to thank the Erie Niagara Sunrise Exchange Club for honoring Rocking with Santa and our Twin Cities Task Force for the Homeless and many other organizations. So we'll be participating at dinner tomorrow night. But thank you in advance to the Erie Niagara Sunrise Exchange Club. With that said, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Rounstrau. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Oh, I know, me too.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Sheasley.
Sorry about the beer.